Hi, welcome back to another My Bourbon Journey review. My name is Scott. Today I have McKenzie Straight Bourbon Whiskey, produced by the fine people over at Finger Lakes Distilling out of Burdett, New York. This is, again, a straight bourbon whiskey. A little bit of information that they have noted on the bottle. McKenzie whiskeys are made from the best ingredients and are distilled using old-time techniques. Handmade and unchill filtered, these fine spirits have rich, complex flavors and smooth, colorful finishes. Then it indicates that this is aged for a minimum of 4 years in American oak barrels. So also this is a 91 proof bourbon or 45.5% ABV. And again, this is produced by Finger Lakes Distilling, again out of Burdett, New York. You can find them on Instagram at FLX Distilling or their website, fingerlakesdistilling.com. Let's go ahead and get into the review. First, we'll do the color as usual. Let's see what we've got here. So you can see this is kind of a lighter kind of copper tone to it. So I'm thinking that this is probably right at about the 4-year mark. So just based on the color. So we'll get into the nose and the taste and stuff here in a second. So got that. So let's go ahead and actually give this a nose. Right, so right up front with this, I'm getting a lot of butterscotch. Some of the sweet vanilla, not a large amount of that, but a little bit of an undertone of vanilla. Actually, some cherry. There's some cherry coming through. A little bit of nutmeg and kind of a sweet corn. Yeah, even some mint or some spearmint, something along those lines. I'm getting that as well, and a little bit of rye coming through as well. So very pleasant nose. It's yeah, very nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and give this a taste. Cheers. We'll give it another try. Let's see. After the first taste, sometimes I like to get that other taste just on the palate so that it's not just lingering there. I'm getting something that's a little bit different. Let's see what we've got. Boy, so right away with this, I'm getting a lot of the rye spice up front. Minimal heat, so with it only being 91 proof, there's not going to be a lot of heat at all to this, but very pleasant up front. If you like a bourbon that has a bit of a rye undertone, I think this would be something that you would really appreciate. In addition to that rye note up front, you get a little bit of the oak coming through, and kind of a nice sweet corn. So you know, it's not overly sweet. I know some bourbons have a tendency to get a little bit super sweet, but this is, I would say, not one of those. It's a pleasant bourbon. Again, very minimal heat, but very enjoyable. So if it's something, again, you like a little bit of that light oak, kind of a toasty oak, maybe even a little bit of kind of a toasted coconut in there as well. So that's not something I get a lot with bourbon when I taste it, but now that this sits kind of on my palate a little bit, I'm getting a little bit more of that kind of toasted oak. That rye kind of continues to come through. So again, a very pleasant palate with this. So let's try this again, see if anything else comes out. Yeah, a fair amount of mint. Kind of similar to what you would get with more of a high rye bourbon or a rye itself. that mint or spearmint wants to kind of come through. So very interesting, considering I don't know exactly what the full mash bill is. I know they were indicating before that it was at least 70% corn, and then the remaining 30% we don't know. So I'll try to find that out, like I said before. But again, this could be, another 25% rye and 5% malted barley, something along those lines, making it a little bit of a higher rye. Therefore, you're going to get some of that mint or spearmint kind of coming through. So the finish on this, I would say, is probably medium short. So it's not it's not lingering there for a while. You still get a nice finish to this though. So, this would be a bourbon that I would recommend to somebody who was either kind of new to bourbon, starting out. They didn't want something that was super overpowering, something that was also going to be pleasant to drink. Nothing that's going to be a super high proof bourbon that's going to, have a lot of heat behind it. This is a very enjoyable bourbon. So I think the people over at Finger Lakes Distilling did a fine job with this bourbon. So, and I have to say to them, thank you for sending the bottle for me to do the review. I greatly appreciate that. So, with that being said, again, I would recommend this. It may be something that would be again for the beginner of people getting into bourbon, or if it's just something that you would like to have as a daily sipper. It's something, again, doesn't have a lot of heat, so it's nice to just sit down, have a glass of this at the end of the day and just kind of relax. So with that being said, again, I would recommend this bourbon. Go ahead and again check them out at on Instagram at FLX Distilling, or you can check them out on the web at fingerlakesdistilling.com. You can also check out my videos on YouTube at My Bourbon Journey. Also, you can check me out on Instagram at my_bourbon_journey. As always, I appreciate everybody watching the videos. Any information or any recommendations, suggestions anybody may have, comments, I'm open to all of that. So this is something I do kind of just as a general hobby. I've really gotten into it over the past couple years and have found myself really enjoying just the community itself. It's been very supportive. So again, subscribe if you haven't. I look for that. That helps me out with building the channel and making this a little bit more worthwhile, that people are able to view these. And hopefully it's something that people are getting some good information out of and finding them useful. So again, subscribe, leave some comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, and hopefully we'll be doing a few more of these. Again, as always, I'd like to try to do 2 or 3 of these per month. I'm going to start getting into coming up here real soon, doing a few more readily available bourbons. Things that people are able to get a little easier, and do a few more reviews of those. That way then people have something they can do or fall back on in terms of information for a readily available bourbon. So again, thank you for watching the videos. I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Cheers.